In a 2013 Revenues press release, Jonathan Katz, CEO of NASA, revealed that since 2001, state appropriates to the arts have declined by nearly 40%, leading to cutbacks in arts programs and services. The recent No Child Left Behind Act stresses government-tested subjects such as reading and math. Therefore, school districts are pressured to focus on those subjects, and music and arts programs are set aside. According to the report, Arts Education in Public Elementary and Secondary Schools, 40% of secondary schools don't even require coursework in the arts for graduation. Only 1 in 33 schools offer dance, and only 1 in 25 offer theater. This leads to my main claim that these budget cuts to the arts education have a negative effect on schools. These negative effects are seen on the children, on the teachers, and on the school morale as a whole. First, we will explore the effects that arts education has on the kids. My first claim is that absence of arts education in schools has a negative effect on kids both academically and personally. Countless research studies have shown positive correlation with learning and participation in the arts, especially in the areas of developing reading skills, spatial temporal reasoning, which integrates into math, and thinking skills. Anita Page did a study which showed that students engaged in dramatic enactment of a story improved their overall understanding of that story. James Catterall did a study that showed that students involved in orchestra or band were more than twice as likely to perform higher in math than their peers that weren't involved in any sort of music. Sandra Minton also did a study that showed students that studied dance scored higher in areas of fluency, originality, and abstract thought and creative thinking than non-dancers. Arts programs increase kids' motivation to learn as well. These programs are the most likely places for kids to meet friends and make the most memories. It makes them want to come to school. Berry and Walls did a study in which they surveyed students, and of those asked, 83% of the students said that participation in an arts course affected their decision to stay in school. Now, these are all positive effects that arts have on students. Now, arts programs aren't necessarily the only way to achieve these outcomes, but they've proven to be extremely effective. Other methods may not be as natural or as effective, and without these programs, students could be missing out on the great benefits that arts exposure causes. Next, we'll explore the toll that these cuts take on teachers. Art teachers are often overworked. In an arts education, public elementary, and secondary schools report, 54% of arts specialists taught at more than one school. On average, they spend 22 hours a week teaching 25 different classes with about 18 students per class. This doesn't allow for individual attention for the students and causes the teachers to be spread too thin. The scarcity of budgets for arts leads to more and more arts teachers losing their jobs because they're the first to go when schools have to cut back. They're often also forced to buy their own supplies or work with the scarce supplies that the school would have. This stifles the teachers and doesn't allow them to be as innovative in their teaching methods. Lots of arts programs also force general ed teachers to incorporate arts into their lesson plans. This is typically not as natural or as effective, and it causes extra stress to the general ed teachers. Overworked teachers and creatively stifled students can lead to an unhappy school environment. This leads me to my third claim, which is the continued reduction of arts education in schools has a negative effect on the overall morale and well-being of the school as a whole. As I've previously stated, arts programs give children motivation to learn and come to school. Every school gets money based on students' attendance, so the less students that attend, the less money the school gets. Every absence is a hit on the school's budget. Arts programs also increase the morale of students, and they emphasize tolerance, empathy, and teach valuable social skills. Catterall, Shaplow, and Iwanaga did an arts involvement study. In the study, 12th graders were surveyed, and 28% of students involved in arts compared to the 19% of students not involved in arts answered that they were friendly with other racial groups. In the same study, 10th graders were asked if it was okay to make a racist remark. 40% of the students involved in art answered no, compared to the 12% of students not involved in arts said no. Finally, C.A. Nelson studied the A+ schools programs in North Carolina. These programs integrate arts into education. This study found that arts contribute to general school curriculum, learning for all students, school and professional culture, educational and instructional practices, and the school's neighborhoods and communities. In conclusion, the loss of arts programs and services can have a very negative effect on the students, the teachers, and the school as a whole.
All right, well, I like the quote that sets up the controversy at the beginning. I think you've got some good statistical information to show why this is in fact a problem. You've got a very clear statement of what your claim is, and although your supporting claims are originally presented as informational thesis statements, when you get to them, you do present them as declarative sentences, so I thought that that was a pretty solid way of developing. Maybe they're just, your transition language, so it worked out pretty well. Internal signposting was okay, although there were a couple of spots where it seemed to me like you were talking about a different point, but it's really connected to the point that you are presenting here, but it sounds like it's distinct. So you may need to offer a little bit of secondary structure on the minor points. I wouldn't go overboard on that, but connecting, like on that last point, you have a whole variety of issues that may or may not be related to morale, and I thought, because I'm listening to the stuff about whether or not it's okay to make a racist comment or some kind of derogatory statement, and the self-reported data about how people felt about that, and I'm going, okay, well, how is that related to the morale of the school? And I wasn't quite clear. And then there were like 3 other ways in which you were talking about the same sort of thing, so I think you need to kind of connect those a little bit more. But generally, everything was solid. I like the variety of opinion evidence that you present. It's very generic. For instance, the stuff on attendance, you've got some stuff that says, well, it's likely to affect people's attitudes, which could influence their attendance. But if we've had the 40% cut that you're talking about, how much less attendance do we have as a consequence? That kind of hard data, I think, is a little bit hard to come up with. I've got the theory here. The follow-up is a little bit, it's not quite as strong as the theory is, and I think that that's a place where maybe you could improve. But the evidence that you did present, I thought, explained the subjects very clearly. It usually gave us good reason to believe that they were true. I thought it was also presented very nicely. You'd had very clear transitions, good internal summaries, and at the end of the speech, you made the point clear what it was that you were trying to get across again. All right, thank you.